Hey Blades fans, welcome back to Hertz Arena for another Florida Everblades pregame show. We're here for round 2, game 4 of playoffs alongside Jake Maurice. I'm Ali Vellucci. Coming into Friday night, Jake, after a huge Wednesday night game, up 3-0 in the series now against Jacksonville. At what point did you see Florida just take over on Wednesday night?
I think it was that power play goal that they got up 1-0. I mean, up until then, for Florida, there really wasn't a whole lot going on, right?
Yep.
They didn't really have many chances. Jacksonville was out shooting them by a fair margin. They looked like a team that was down 2-0, trying to get themselves back in the series. But Florida scores that power play goal. You could tell it took a lot out of Jacksonville, gave the Everblades and their crowd tons of life. They get the other one from Tyler Irvine later in the period. And from there, Florida just kind of locked things down in the third period. Jacksonville, they had their moments for sure, but it never felt like they had that concerted push like we saw in Game 2 when they were trying to come back from down 1. They just really didn't have it, which was surprising to see, but credit to the Everblades. They played really well defensively once they got themselves that multi-goal lead in the second.
Speaking of the first goal, Sean Josling on the power play, he's leading the ECHL in points and goals right now in the playoffs. Impressive overall. Special teams talk. Power plays rolling right now. What adjustments have you seen that kind of set them apart and made them more noticeable on the ice?
Well, I think it's great that Josling is a threat from both sides of the ice. He can either set up a one-timer on the left side or wrist it beautifully from the right, so you have to watch him wherever he is on the ice. I really like Masella quarterbacking, especially setting up Josling. A right shot defenseman passing to a right-handed forward just goes that little bit more smoothly. That makes it easier for Josling to get those one-timers off. You have Pendenza on the flank. McCarron's great down low because he can retrieve pucks on the boards below. And then having Chow in the middle. Yes, he's a good shot option, but he's also very good as a distributor from that bumper position. So it just seems that with that first unit, everyone is really well suited for their role. Second unit is also coming in, contributing here and there, what you'd want from a second unit, but it's certainly the top unit that drives things for Florida, especially Sean Josling, leading the ECHL in playoff goals right now.
Head coach Brad Ralph said the focus coming into this series was really to slow them down offensively, make sure they were getting limited shots and really limiting the neutral zone turnovers. They shut them down defensively last night. What were you seeing Florida excel at on the blue line?
Well, first off, you see Cam Johnson every game.
Correct.
Excellent.
Yep.
I mean, with this shutout, right, his third of the playoffs, he's been excellent. But slowing them down at the blue line, it just seems the defense, they know how to control their gaps. They know when to back off, when they recognize they need to get back versus when they can have their guys stand up. The defense pairings, they recognize when your partner is stepping up, okay, I need to shift back a little bit so that they can't just cut around and go right in. So they're all three defense pairings, they're reading off each other really well when defending their own blue line, forcing those dumps. And you often see when Jacksonville makes a dump, the other defenseman, the one who isn't standing up, the guy dumping the puck in, he's quickly heading back below the goal line to retrieve the puck to make sure that Jacksonville's forecheckers can't get to it first, allowing the Everblades to execute quicker breakouts.
Cam Johnson, third shutout, like you said, of playoffs. It's been his crease all season long. Head coach Brad Ralph called him a wall last night, said he really held his team in it. It just seems like he's so confident in his crease, and it just makes everything else go so seamlessly. Yeah,
it's excellent. It's exactly what you want when you're going into the playoffs. No team in ECHL history has ever succeeded, I don't think, without a really good goaltender. Last year, the Everblades had the best goaltender, Cam Johnson, who was the playoff MVP. This year, he's playing like the playoff MVP again. 3 shutouts, 6 wins in 8 games, just absolutely stellar. Last night, it wasn't just routine saves either. He made a couple of really nice stops to help get the win. And I mean, just look across the ice at Jacksonville. They've played 3 goalies in the playoffs because they've gotten good performances from guys, but they also have gotten performances that aren't that great, and that forces them to kind of be juggling. And now they're going into an elimination game wondering who their best option is in the crease. Everblades, they'll never have to worry about that. It's Cam every time, and you know he's always going to give you a great result.
We've talked about adjustments all series long, starting from round 1 of the playoffs as well, but you're going into game 4, potential to go 4-0. Do you see any adjustments coming our way, or do you think it's going to stay pretty much the same? We can expect Jacksonville to come in hot. They're going to be upset. They're going to be mad. We saw some of the rough stuff at the end of the game after Joe Pendenza shot. He said he didn't know that the clock was running out. So it's an understandable. The physicality is something that we've seen so consistently, but I don't know the adjustments. Are we going to see more on our end or more on their end? I don't know if it's going to go either way.
Well, we're going to see in terms of style of play, Jacksonville's going to be completely desperate. This is their season. They need to win 4 straight games, including 2 here at Hertz Arena back-to-back. That's really tough, but that's the situation they're in, so you can expect we're going to get everything from Jacksonville tonight. They can't leave anything on the ice because if they don't, there is no more time for them
Right.
on the ice this year. So we're going to have to be ready that Everblade's defensive game is going to have to be strong. Florida's going to be putting real emphasis on that as they have practiced yesterday, today going into this game. They're going to be really focused on that, making sure that Cam can see pucks clearly, clear away those second opportunities. Don't let Jacksonville get in. Stay disciplined, as you mentioned. Yeah, I got a little bit chippy at the end of the game. That's going to happen in a playoff series, especially this being the second straight year these teams have played in the playoffs. They don't like each other. It's going to happen. So with that, you got to make sure that you stand up for yourself, obviously. Don't let people take advantage of you, but be smart. Yesterday, the Everblades, they were pretty disciplined. A couple of days ago, they were pretty disciplined. Jacksonville was too, but now going into the elimination game, I don't know if we're going to see something like Game 2 against South Carolina where there's 74 penalty minutes, but very likely the game could be swung on a player taking an undisciplined penalty. So you need to be smart with that. And in terms of lines, I don't really see much adjustment. It's been working for Florida going back to Game 5 against South Carolina. Why would you mess with it?
They're going to roll with it. All right, more of our pregame show. Magic, Jake, you got the first pick. Who you got?
Well, I'm going to go with, after not scoring late in Game 3, I'm going to go with Joe Pendenza.
Okay.
It didn't count, but he found the back of the net.
He did.
And he's been excellent all season long. He leads the Blades in playoff points right there at the top of the ECHL. You want your big guys to lead you in a game like this where you have a chance to knock out an opponent, especially considering that the other series where the Everblades' next opponent, that's not going to last too much longer. In fact, the entire, based on how it's looking right now, the entire second round might not last too long. You got to be ready.
We're moving fast here.
You got to be ready for a quick turnaround. So getting things done tonight is going to be very important for Florida, and you look to your biggest guys to do that for you.
I'm going to go another maybe safe choice or just a veteran guy, Ben Masella. Been solid all year long. Even when he was injured, he was still obviously a leadership role in the locker room. So 2 assists. I think I'm gonna go him. He's been making things happen.
Yeah, captain always leads the way.
Exactly. 3 keys to the game.
3 keys to the game. We talked about discipline. You got to be smart, especially with what happened on Wednesday. It's going to bleed over into tonight. Maybe early on, like all it takes is one questionable hit, and this whole game could just get set off.
Things are going to fly.
Using the fans, it's an elimination game. Fans need to be loud cheering on the guys, especially, who knows, depending on the situation in the game, right? Like if there's a situation where it's a tied game late, Everblades could really use that fan support. We've seen a couple times back in the regular season, late goals in this season series swung games, so that could be a big factor. And then tonight, I think just more important than anything, as long as Cam Johnson is playing his style of hockey just like he did in Game 3, the Blades will be in a really good spot.
All right, Blades fans, get loud for Game 4. Warm-ups and puck drop are up next.